I just destroyed my best friend's billion-dollar empire in front of 50,000 live stream viewers. 3 months ago, Tom fired me from the company we co-founded and stole my AI algorithm, calling me dead weight. What hurt more was hearing him tell his Ivy League MBA girlfriend, "Jenna's just the programmer. You're my real partner now." As they celebrated their new billion-dollar company, they had no idea I'd been secretly recording every illegal move they made. When the FBI dragged them both off that stage, I wasn't just a billionaire, I was finally free. This is how the dead weight they dismissed became their judge, jury, and executioner. My name is Jenna Taylor, and Tom Lawson used to call me his genius partner and the sister he never had. We met at MIT. While other students partied, Tom and I spent nights debugging code and dreaming about changing the world. He could sell ice to penguins, I could make machines think like humans. We were the perfect partners. I trusted him with everything, my code, my dreams, my heart, though I never told him about that last part. From my garage, we built TechnoPredict into a $50 million empire in just 2 years, all powered by my AI algorithm that could predict market crashes 72 hours in advance with 94% accuracy. Everything changed when Tom met Cassandra Winters at the TechCrunch conference. Ivy League MBA, former McKinsey consultant, Instagram perfect with her designer suits and practice smile. Tom fell for her immediately. I watched him stumble over his words like a teenager asking someone to prom. Within a month, she joined TechnoPredict as strategic growth advisor. Tom hired her without consulting me, his supposed equal partner. Her first suggestion in our Monday meeting? You need to think bigger than a garage startup mentality. She said it looking directly at me. The systematic poisoning began immediately. Cassandra questioned my vision in every meeting. Jenna's great at coding, but she doesn't understand scaling unicorns. She'd tell Tom when she thought I couldn't hear. Soon, Tom started repeating her phrases word for word. We need to evolve past founder limitations. I watched my best friend pulling away, spending more time with Cassandra in closed-door strategy sessions. The betrayal cut deeper than professional. I was losing Tom both as a business partner and as the person I secretly loved. Cassandra had perfect timing, swooping in just as I'd started hoping Tom might see me as more than his genius sister. Technical people don't need to be in strategy sessions, Cassandra explained when I questioned being excluded from investor meetings. Tom nodded along, taking her to pitch meetings where they discussed MY algorithm to potential buyers. The final betrayal happened at our Series B announcement party. I stood in the back wearing my usual hoodie while Tom took the stage in his designer suit, Cassandra glittering beside him in a dress that cost more than my monthly rent. "Ladies and gentlemen," Tom announced to the crowd of investors, "let me introduce CrashSense, the revolutionary AI algorithm that I developed to predict market crashes." I couldn't believe my ears. Did Tom just refer to the algorithm I built as his? My algorithm. My 5 years of sleepless nights. My breakthrough that had made him rich and famous. When I tried to speak up, Tom cut me off with a dismissive wave. "Jenna handles our technical implementation," Cassandra added with her practice smile. "We couldn't do the coding without her support." Support. Like I was some intern fetching coffee instead of the woman who'd built their empire. But the real knife in my back came later that night. Walking past Tom's office to grab my laptop, I overheard them celebrating. "She actually thinks she's irreplaceable," Tom laughed. "It's kind of sad." Cassandra's voice was ice cold. "She's dead weight, babe. The algorithm is documented. We don't need the programmer anymore." Tom's response shattered 5 years of friendship. "I built this company. She just wrote some code." The next morning, I found my termination email. Due to philosophical differences and performance concerns, my partnership was over. My equity shares, worth $12 million, were voided due to some obscure breach of founder agreement clause I'd never seen before. I stared at the legal language in confusion. I'd never seen this clause before in my life. Frantically, I pulled up our original founder agreement from my files, then compared it to the version Tom's lawyer sent. There it was, a new section buried in pages of legal text, dated 3 months ago during what Tom had called a routine legal update for investor compliance. I remembered that day. Tom had rushed into my office with a stack of papers. Just some boring legal stuff the lawyers need us to sign. Company growth formalities. I trusted him completely and signed without reading every page. They'd been planning this for months. My hands shaking, I called 3 different lawyers. Each gave me the same devastating news. They outmaneuvered you legally. This clause gives Tom unilateral termination power as CEO. Fighting it will cost $500,000 minimum and take 2 to 3 years, money you don't have against opponents who do. One lawyer was brutally honest. They have investor funding and white shoe law firms. You have savings and righteous anger. The legal system favors deeper pockets, and they just buried you in perfectly legal quicksand. Cassandra's follow-up text arrived while I sat in stunned silence. Thanks for the warm-up act, Jenna. Real entrepreneurs take over now. They hadn't just fired me. They'd executed a perfectly planned legal assassination months in the making. And Tom didn't even have the decency to face me. I sat in my beat-up Honda outside the TechnoPredict office, crying so hard I could barely breathe. 5 years of my life, my greatest creation, my best friend, all stolen in a single morning. The building that used to feel like home now looked like a prison I'd never escape. I drove straight to my parents' house in my old neighborhood, stumbling through the front door like a broken person. My mom took one look at my red, swollen eyes and wrapped me in the kind of hug that makes you cry harder. "What happened, Jenna?" she whispered. I could barely get the words out. When I finally told them about the firing, the stolen patents, the $12 million in equity they'd voided, my father's face went pale. "Honey," he said quietly, "we invested our entire retirement savings in the company because we believed in you. Because you built something incredible." That night, I sat in my childhood bedroom surrounded by old computer science awards and participation trophies, checking the patent filings on my laptop. There it was in black and white. Thomas Lawson listed as primary inventor of CrashSense. My 5 years of sleepless nights, my revolutionary breakthrough, my life's work, legally his. Every line of my original code had been rewritten with Tom's comments. Every innovation I'd sweated over was now attributed to his genius. I was broke, friendless, and completely erased from my own creation. But as I stared at those patent documents, something crystallized in my mind. A cold, clear thought that cut through the grief like a laser. They didn't just steal my algorithm, they gave me the perfect weapon to destroy them with. I wiped my tears, cracked my knuckles, and opened my development environment. The quiet girl who trusted everyone was about to become their worst nightmare. Here's what Tom and Cassandra didn't know. I'd built a secret backdoor into CrashSense for debugging purposes. It was invisible to other programmers, buried so deep in the code that only I knew it existed. While they celebrated stealing my life's work, I still had complete access to monitor everything they were doing. What I discovered made my blood run cold. They were selling CrashSense predictions to hedge funds while secretly trading against those same recommendations. When they told clients to buy, they were shorting. But they were careful. They couldn't manipulate every prediction or CrashSense would lose credibility and become worthless. So they picked their spots, betraying clients just often enough to steal millions while keeping the algorithm's reputation intact. Pure calculated market manipulation. I pulled up their trading records. $47 million in trading profits over the past 6 months. Every single trade perfectly timed using insider information from MY algorithm. Another damning evidence surfaced when I activated CrashSense's built-in recording feature, something I'd originally designed for debugging sessions. Their voices came through crystal clear as they planned their next illegal trade. The algorithm says Ludum Corp crashes Thursday morning. We reported that it is going up. Cassandra said, "We should short 10 million worth." Tom's laugh made me sick. It's like printing money. Jenna was too stupid to realize what she'd built. "Good thing we got rid of the Boy Scout before she figured it out," Cassandra replied. "She would have ruined everything with her ethics." I kept digging and found something even worse. They were planning to take the company public while hiding their illegal trading profits. The IPO documents I accessed claimed Tom had invented revolutionary AI technology and positioned TechnoPredict as a legitimate predictive analytics company. But it was all fraud. They'd already sold $200 million in pre-IPO shares to investors who had no idea they were buying into a criminal enterprise built on stolen technology. Every investor presentation, every financial projection, every growth forecast, all of it was based on profits from securities fraud using my stolen algorithm. Tom and Cassandra hadn't just stolen my life's work. They turned it into a weapon to rob innocent investors of hundreds of millions of dollars. Staring at the evidence of their crimes, I realized something beautiful. I didn't need lawyers or authorities or anyone else to fight this battle. I had something infinitely more powerful, complete control over the algorithm they'd stolen and the ability to predict exactly how their empire would fall. CrashSense could predict market crashes. Now it was going to predict theirs. I spent the next 2 weeks documenting everything. Trading records showing their illegal profits. Patent theft evidence proving I was the real inventor. Hours of recorded conversations where they admitted to securities fraud. Audio of Tom calling me too stupid and Cassandra planning to get rid of the Boy Scout. But evidence wasn't enough. I needed the perfect moment to strike. Using my backdoor access, I programmed a special surprise into CrashSense, a little gift that would activate at exactly the right moment. Then I created a fake investor identity. Victoria Callaway, tech venture capitalist with a realistic background and social media presence. I hacked into their IPO launch party's audio and video system and streaming setup. Every screen, every speaker, every camera in that venue would be under my control when the moment came. The personal stakes kept escalating. My parents told me their friends had invested their life savings in TechnoPredict based on my recommendation. Former colleagues called in tears. Tom was planning mass layoffs immediately after the IPO to boost profits. He went on CNBC bragging about eliminating dead weight and his revolutionary leadership. Hundreds of families were about to lose everything because of my stolen creation. The night before their IPO party, I stood in front of my mirror practicing my confrontation speech. The broken girl who'd cried in her childhood bedroom was gone. In her place stood someone harder, sharper, more dangerous. I ordered a stunning red dress for tomorrow night. If I was crashing their party, I was doing it in style. The quiet girl they called dead weight is about to move mountains. The TechnoPredict IPO launch party was everything Tom had dreamed of, a glamorous rooftop venue overlooking downtown, 300 guests including Silicon Valley's biggest names, and a live stream broadcasting to over 10,000 viewers for what he called the historic IPO announcement. Tom strutted around in his custom Armani suit while Cassandra sparkled beside him in a designer gown that probably cost more than most people's cars. A massive banner stretched across the venue. TechnoPredict IPO, revolutionary AI technology changes everything. The irony made me sick. I arrived fashionably late as Victoria Callaway, my fake investor persona, wearing the stunning red dress I'd bought for this moment. Nobody recognized the confident woman in heels and professional makeup I used to hide in hoodies and avoid eye contact. Now I commanded attention as I moved through the crowd, gathering intelligence and positioning myself perfectly. The transformation was complete. The broken girl who'd cried in her childhood bedroom had been replaced by someone far more dangerous. Tom worked the room like the natural salesman he'd always been, accepting congratulations for his brilliant invention. Investor after investor praised him for creating CrashSense from nothing and revolutionizing predictive analytics. Cassandra gave polished interviews about supporting visionary leadership and scaling unicorn companies. The most insulting part? Tom walked past me twice without recognizing his former best friend and business partner. 5 years of friendship, countless late nights building the company together, and he couldn't even see me standing 3 feet away. I smiled coldly and activated the hidden cameras I'd planted throughout the venue. 5 years of friendship, and he doesn't even see me. Finally, Tom took the main stage as the live stream viewer count climbed to 15,000. The spotlight hit him perfectly as he began his victory speech. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 years ago, I had a vision of artificial intelligence that could predict the future and protect people from financial disasters. I moved closer to the front of the crowd, my finger hovering over the phone that would end his world. I built Crash Sense from scratch in my garage, working day and night to perfect the algorithm that would revolutionize how we understand market volatility. Every word was a lie. Every sentence stolen from my life. Time for the truth. Tom was in full performance mode, gesturing dramatically as he spun his fictional origin story. This company represents the power of American innovation and entrepreneurial. I stepped forward and removed my designer sunglasses. "Hi, Tom. Miss me?" The crowd gasped. Cameras immediately swiveled toward the unexpected interruption. Tom's face went white as he stared at me like he was seeing a ghost. "Jenna? What are you doing here?" "I came to watch you celebrate stealing my life's work," I said, my voice carrying clearly across the silent venue. "Please continue your little fairy tale." The live stream chat exploded as viewers tried to figure out what was happening. Security started moving toward me, but I was already activating the venue's speaker system with my phone. "You want to know what Tom Lawson really thinks of the investors he's lying to?" Crystal clear audio filled the space. Tom and Cassandra's recorded conversation from just days ago. Tom's voice. "It's like printing money." Jenna was too stupid to realize what she'd built. Cassandra's laugh. "Good thing we got rid of the Boy Scout before she figured it out." The crowd murmured in confusion as Tom frantically gestured for someone to cut the sound. But I controlled every speaker in the building. This is some kind of misunderstanding," Tom stammered. I connected my phone to every screen in the venue. Patent documents appeared showing my name as the original inventor of Crash Sense. "This man didn't invent anything," I announced. "He stole my algorithm and erased my name from history." Side-by-side comparisons filled the screens. My original code with my digital signature versus the current version with Tom's name plastered all over it. The evidence was undeniable. But I wasn't finished. Patent theft wasn't enough, though. They used MY algorithm to commit securities fraud. Trading logs appeared on every screen, showing Tom and Cassandra shorting stocks after manipulating predictions to show it will rise. $47 million in illegal profits by lying about predictions gotten from stolen technology. The investors started shouting questions. The live stream viewer count exploded past 50,000 as people shared clips on social media in real time. Tom's desperate voice cut through the chaos. "Jenna, we were best friends. You're destroying everything." I looked him straight in the eyes. "Best friends don't steal each other's lives, Tom. You chose her over 5 years of loyalty." Cassandra tried to speak. "This is clearly a disgruntled employee seeking revenge." I cut her off with a smile. "I have every conversation recorded, Cassandra. Would you like me to play the one where you called me pathetic deadweight?" Her face went pale. The golden couple's empire was crumbling in real time, broadcast live to the world. Security tried to escort me out, but the investors weren't having it. "Mark," the biggest investor's voice boomed from the virtual attendance screen. "I want to hear everything she has to say. Now." The crowd pressed closer as I played my final recording, Tom and Cassandra planning mass layoffs immediately after the IPO. "They were going to fire 200 employees the day after taking your money," I announced. "Every family represented in this room was going to be destroyed to boost their quarterly profits." The venue turned hostile. Investors who'd been shaking Tom's hand minutes earlier were now demanding answers. The live stream viewer count hit 100,000 as #CrashSenseScandal started trending worldwide. I delivered my final statement with perfect timing. "I built this algorithm to protect people from financial disasters." Instead, he used it to create one. The venue erupted. Reporters swarmed the stage as Tom and Cassandra tried desperately to escape through the crowd. But I'd planned for that too. FBI agents entered through every exit. I'd called them hours earlier with detailed evidence of the securities fraud. Tom's final plea cut through the chaos. "Jenna, I loved you like a sister. We can work this out." I looked at him one last time, seeing not my former best friend but a stranger who'd chosen greed over everything we'd built together. Sisters don't erase each other from history, Tom. Enjoy federal prison. Cassandra tried to run but was immediately stopped by security. Federal agents read them their rights as millions watched the live stream. The poetic justice was perfect. Stock trading was halted permanently, the IPO canceled before it could destroy innocent investors. My original patents were reinstated by emergency court order within hours. The algorithm they'd stolen to build their criminal empire became the very evidence that destroyed them. As I walked calmly out of the venue, leaving chaos and federal agents behind me, I felt something I hadn't experienced since the day they fired me: complete satisfaction. The quiet girl they'd called dead weight had just moved mountains. And the best part? This was only the beginning. The criminal charges came down like a hammer of justice. The FBI's investigation, built entirely on my recorded evidence, was airtight. Tom was charged with patent theft, securities fraud, insider trading, and wire fraud. Cassandra faced charges as co-conspirator plus money laundering for helping hide their illegal profits through offshore accounts. Federal prosecutors called it one of the most comprehensive white-collar crime cases in recent history. My recordings became Exhibit A through Z in their criminal trial. Every conversation where they mocked me, every plan to defraud investors, every detail of their scheme, all of it played in federal court for the world to hear. The sentences were devastating. Tom received 12 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole. Cassandra got 7 years. Combined fines and restitution totaled $847 million, every penny of their stolen profits plus punitive damages. But the criminal justice was just the beginning. My emergency patent lawsuit took 3 weeks to resolve. Federal judges ruled unanimously that the technology belonged to me and ordered it returned immediately. I was awarded $340 million in damages for stolen intellectual property. The class action lawsuit by defrauded investors settled for an additional $200 million. TechnoPredict's assets were liquidated, with me receiving full rights to my CrashSense technology and all related patents. The public vindication felt almost as good as the money. Forbes put me on their cover, the woman who built AI and destroyed those who stole it. My testimony to Congress about corporate IP theft led to new federal legislation protecting inventors from exactly what Tom and Cassandra had done to me. Cassandra's MBA was revoked for academic dishonesty by association. Apparently, building her career on stolen technology violated their honor code. The most satisfying moment came from Tom's prison interviews with 60 Minutes. Sitting in his orange jumpsuit, he looked directly into the camera and said, "I destroyed the most loyal person in my life for money. Jenna Taylor was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it all away for greed. Too little, too late." 6 months after their sentencing, I made one final trip to see Tom at FCI Victorville. He looked broken, the charismatic entrepreneur replaced by a hollow man in prison khakis who'd aged 10 years in 6 months. "I threw away the best thing in my life," he said through the reinforced glass. "I loved you, Jenna. I really did." I looked at the stranger, who used to be my best friend. "You didn't love me, Tom. You loved what I could build for you. There's a difference." His eyes filled with tears. "That's not true. We were partners. We were family. I kept waiting for my best friend to defend me when Cassandra poisoned you against me," I said calmly. "Instead, you called me stupid and said I was dead weight." "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I ruined everything. Cassandra manipulated me. She made me believe." "She made you believe what you wanted to believe," I interrupted. "That you deserved credit for my work. That 5 years of friendship meant nothing when she offered you more." The worst part wasn't the money or the patents, I realized. It was understanding that our entire relationship had been conditional. "I forgive you, Tom," I said finally. "Not for you, for me. I won't carry your betrayal anymore." He pressed his hand against the glass desperately. "Does that mean we can? But friendship?" I stood up, shouldering my purse. "That died when you chose greed over loyalty." I walked away without looking back, finally free from the pain that had consumed me for months. The Tom I'd loved had never really existed. I was done mourning someone who was already gone. 18 months later, I stood at the New York Stock Exchange, preparing to ring the opening bell for CrashSense Technologies' IPO. My company, built with my original algorithm and staffed by the 200 employees Tom had planned to fire, opened at $42 per share. By closing, we were valued at $4.2 billion, making me one of the youngest female tech billionaires in American history. The poetic justice was perfect. I'd used CrashSense to create an early warning system for financial fraud, preventing 3 major Ponzi schemes and saving investors billions of dollars. The algorithm stolen to commit crimes now protected innocent people from criminals. As I raised the ceremonial gavel, I caught my reflection in the bronze bell. The quiet girl in hoodies who used to hide in her garage had become the confident woman who owned the algorithm that changed the world. Today, I sit in my corner office on the 40th floor, overlooking the exact spot where TechnoPredict's headquarters used to stand before the FBI seized it. My walls tell the real story. 23 patents with my name as primary inventor and my incorporated magazine cover. How Jenna Taylor turned betrayal into billions. The 200 employees Tom planned to fire have become my chosen family. They call themselves the Crash Team, and every year we celebrate Loyalty Day, the anniversary of the day I saved their jobs and exposed the fraud that would have destroyed their lives. My story inspired the Taylor Act, new federal legislation protecting technology inventors from corporate IP theft. No one else will go through what I endured. CrashSense Technologies has prevented 4 market crashes that would have cost millions of Americans their life savings. My algorithm, originally stolen to commit fraud, now protects ordinary families from the exact kind of financial predators Tom and Cassandra became. Looking back, I understand something profound. Tom stole my algorithm, but he gave me something more valuable, the knowledge that I could succeed without him, without anyone. They called me dead weight. Now I'm the weight that crushed their criminal empire and lifted up everyone they planned to destroy. The best revenge wasn't destroying them. It was building something so magnificent that their betrayal became irrelevant.